Hello everybody, welcome back to wolfeei, because today we're going to be talking about an interesting thing regarding the MCC Ender Cup. Mostly the Reddit's response, or some of the Reddit's response, I should clarify, because we'll get into it in a little bit. Before that, though, we have some more positive things to talk about. I mean, the video isn't going to be entirely negative, but I will be ranting a little bit. Before we get into that, today, Mayhem, this is my team, live at 8 p.m. BST, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Come watch. My team is cool. Come watch. Twitch.tv/wolfeei. Second, I've been requested to mention this, and I will be mentioning it, hopefully, as much as I can. But in the description of this video, and also on my links on my channel, is the Discord. This is my community Discord, where people who love wolfeei Mogomel or watch whatever regarding to me can talk together, hang out together. The mods and the staff team are planning to, you know, make the server more active, have more activities, etc, etc, etc. So join up if you want to hang out with the Mogomel enjoyers. Come join the Discord. And then that's the plugs for today. Let's get into the core of today's video. Now, I should clarify, I'm not trying to attack anyone, okay? Not trying to attack anyone. Also, this person is not the only person who complained, but some people, upon the reveals of the teams for MCC X Minecraft Ender Cup, whatever you want to call it, said that they were a little disappointed at the people that ended up being in the roster. See, what happened was, on the MCC, or on the Ender Cup live website, which, you know, people have seen and known about for a while, it said that the contestants would be 40 of the biggest Minecraft content creators. And this 40 of the biggest Minecraft content creators was definitely looked at in very different ways by very different people on the Reddit specifically. I'm sure people beyond the MCC Reddit also looked at this line of text and interpreted it in the way that they thought was most fit. But this has caused some quote-unquote issues. It doesn't really matter. At least within the community, it has become a topic of discussion because some people feel like they were falsely advertised to. They see 40 of the biggest Minecraft content creators and expect like 40 of the biggest currently relevant Minecraft content creators, people who mainly or primarily do Minecraft, and that is unrealistic, but we'll get into that. Because, if you didn't know already, the teams for this event got announced, and there's a bunch of people in this roster, including some variety streamers, like the people on green and the people on pink, or at least the majority of the people on green and pink, which I think is really cool. I always have said this in the past, that I really love seeing non-Minecraft people involved in the Minecraft event scene, because it introduces the event scene to new audiences that wouldn't already be watching it for the most part, of course. So, when I saw the green and pink team, I was excited. I was like, this is cool. When some other people saw the green and pink team, they were like, these guys aren't Minecraft streamers, which is debatable. I mean, I can somewhat agree. I understand, look, I understand why people are using this thought process. I don't entirely blame people for using this thought process. But when historically the MCC Reddit hasn't had the best rep, and this yet again doesn't apply to everyone, but you know, bad publicity and drama, etc., typically tends to get the most attention. You know, when the Reddit already doesn't have the best rep, this doesn't help. I'm you know, looking out for you guys, but this doesn't help. Okay, this is not a good whatever. Anyways, the reality of things is that when, you know, this event is put together, we don't know the fine details of how things were hosted. We don't know what was agreed upon between Mojang and the Nox crew for this event. We don't know the details. We don't know the requirements for the players. We don't know the demands from Mojang. We don't know anything, for the most part. I mean, there's things that they revealed publicly, but whatever is not public is things that the majority of people will not know. And that probably applies to the roster as well. I don't think that Mojang ended up demanding a specific amount of people. Maybe some people, or maybe a certain group of people Mojang asked for, maybe a certain group of people Scott asked for, and maybe a certain group of people the Noxro asked for. Namely, the backups for this event, which who I don't think are on the website, unless they are, but the backups for this event are mainly MCC Rising 2 players, and I assume that Avondale had the main, was mainly responsible for this selection of people, because I know Avondale is very much attached to that group of people, because he, was very much involved, seemingly, with Rising. So he really values those people. So he was like, this is an opportunity to give these people an extra shot, which I think is great. Cool. I think it is brutal that you're announcing these people as potential backups, and then in the potential instance that all of them, or all of the people show up, they're just there as backups, but cool announcement either way. Anyways, one thing that's also very much important to note, and I should probably swap to some other tabs, like here. Here. It seems that a lot of people don't really care about the teams. The main complaint is that there are not enough Minecrafters in this event, which is... that's ridiculous. Not enough Minecrafters when the amount of Minecrafters is what? Like 75-80%. I guess you could argue it should be closer to 100, but whatever. You know, whatever. They said the thing it has its merits, but it's also really fair to the players that they managed to get in to complain about them being in. For example, so someone directly call out Shannon saying something of the effect he shouldn't be in. He was IMO rightfully annoyed by this and responded to them. Most of them just got lucky and the right spot was open for them to play. Another complaint is that the site was false advertising by saying that it would be 40 of the largest Minecraft content creators. I don't really think any event at any time would really be able to pull this off, so it's unfair to complain that not all of the players in MCC were mainly Minecraft creators. You're so right! One thing that people need to, people need to freaking remember is that this is a one-time slot event. A 3-hour slot on a specific day was already pre-assigned, probably, before these players were invited. Do you really think that magically the 40 biggest Minecraft content creators are all available on this one-time slot at the exact same time? No, of course not. So don't think that this is probably... I mean, I guess it's just an assumption. Who knows? But it is very safe to assume that this roster weren't the first 40 people that they planned to invite. There's a good chance that other people were supposed to be in this roster, but just couldn't make it, or maybe even just said no. Some people may have just not wanted to play. We don't know that, you don't know that, and there's no, like, you can't assume that someone was purposefully left out when, in the reality of things, maybe they just weren't able to make it. Who knows? Either way, there's more arguments that people are saying, like, oh, well, these maps may be a one-time appearance. I guess we don't know that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they would return, because there was also maps made for the MCC Twitch Rivals, the first one, which was based on Vegas, because I think it was Area 50 or Area 51, whatever the map was called, and that one appeared in other events, so these might appear in other events if they are deemed to fit in MCC going forward, because to be fair, and this is important to remember, these maps are based on Minecraft updates for the most part, and that may not fit in the MCC, creative environment. So we'll see, I guess, we'll see. But yeah, one thing I can agree with is that this line, 40 biggest Minecraft content creators, may have not been the best line to pick to talk about who will be participating in the event. Factually speaking, well, actually, not really, but people interpret things the way that they want to interpret things. This leaves a lot of room for, interpretation, and that resulted in the Reddit, especially, having, like, team predictions that mostly seemed the same, but they included some pretty crazy additions that didn't really make sense. I mean, not didn't really make sense, but within their interpretation it makes sense, but within the interpretation that we ended up getting, it doesn't really make sense. One other thing that I saw, which I don't think was on this post, it was on one of these, this one. This comment, I like the teams, but they don't feel like Minecraft X MCC teams. Who knows what a Minecraft X MCC is supposed to look like? This is the first time it happened. Maybe this was intentional. You don't know that. Who knows? I understand that when you see Minecraft X MCC, your expectation may be, oh, well, it's probably going to be just Minecraft streamers, so it's just probably going to be Minecraft YouTubers, so it's going to be OG Minecrafters, and that's cool. Great interpretation, I understand, but if that isn't what they thought, unlucky. Clearly, the Noxtrew, or Minecraft, or Mojang, or MCC, or whoever had something else in mind, and that's great, fine, because in my opinion, this roster is really cool. You get a bunch of returning players who people have been asking or hoping to return for ages. You get some newcomers. I think there's only two. But you get Blaustoys and Aphmau. Aphmau most notably being someone who was on almost everyone's prediction as a hope/copium ad to be in this roster. Aphmau is in the roster. Sick. Like, I don't know. It just is very silly to see the response that ended up coming, and it's not all people complaining. I will have to clarify again that the Reddit isn't just being negative. It is just that the negativity typically ends up getting the most attention, as you can tell from me making an entire video about it. But it's interesting to see how people argue about this event, and it's interesting to see how people think that their interpretation of how things quote-unquote should be is the reason why they are upset, which yet again, you don't know about how things should be because you don't know the rules or the protocols or whatever of how this event works. That's up to the Noxtrew, up to Scott, up to Mojang, whatever, to know, and you probably will never find out. And this is cool. I like this roster, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. It's sick. Also, I saw some other people, and this is not specifically this post. Actually, before we get into more complaints, let's get to some positivity. Women representation this event is peak. 18 non-male participants, fantastic. That for a gaming event, tournament, whatever, that is fantastic, because typically, I want to make sure to specifically say typically, because it doesn't always apply. In a non-specific, like non-male hosted event or anything along those lines, in a quote-unquote general event, typically you will not see this level of non-male representation in the roster. So having 18, almost 50%, it's 45% of the players be non-male is fantastic, and I'm really happy to see that, because it is an achievement, an accomplishment that typically doesn't really get achieved, gets overlooked sometimes, and I don't know if it's intentional, but I'm very happy to see that it ended up happening with this roster. 2 full non-male teams is also a new record for an event. Previously, it was 1, now it's 2. Fantastic. So I'm happy to see it. And also, shout out to, you know, the teams that actually ended up happening, because I also think this gets overlooked, because people will be more upset about their one hopeful player not getting in than they will be happy about all these people being in, especially the ones that returned after a long time, or the ones that are infrequent, or the ones that you barely see, like the pink team, besides purpled, doesn't play the game ever, pretty much. Happy to see them back. That's cool. Same with green. Or like a lime team or an aqua team. Sick that there's multiple returning players on these teams, or even newcomers or whatever. That, you know, like, that's so cool, and it gets overlooked. It just gets overlooked. Also, one thing I want to mention, specifically, because I think it's in this post, someone was talking about Shane, apparently. I didn't see this post. I was not aware of this post. I don't know what logic they would have used for Shane not being part of, or that Shane shouldn't be part of this roster. Based on what? In MCC, or at least in MCC context, Shane averages like a viewership of over 1,000 in most events. In an event like this, he'll probably get more, because guess what? There's not a lot of really good players, and I think this applies to most really good players in this roster. They'll probably get more. Cool. Does that mean that Shane shouldn't be in? No. People will then argue who should be in, and they'll talk about like a lifesteal member, and I'm thinking to myself, would a lifesteal member get more viewers than Shane in an event? Maybe 1 or 2 of them, but most of them probably not. So should they have been in over Shane? Meh. Not really, I guess. Shane also has played way more events. Shane also works on this team way better. Scott probably was responsible for Shane being in here, and Shane's Scott's friend. So how is it your business and your call to make that Shane shouldn't be in this event? That makes no sense. Anyways, enough ranting. Hopefully you understand. You know, I'm happy to see this roster. It's cool. I like it. And if you're upset, okay, unlucky. All right, thank you all for watching. See you later. Goodbye.